All right, thank you for joining us at infamoushorrors.com. So, LA Macabre is really addictive. I started the first three episodes around probably 3 o'clock today and have not been able to put it down. So, was that the reaction when you guys got in the script for your characters you were going to play?
Definitely.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
As
yeah,
we
for
were
sure.
filming, I would say more into the second season that just released. Um, it was very much that I read it and I couldn't wait, and then we filmed in chronological order also through the script. So it was all the exciting bits that were coming up as you got further into the script. It was just couldn't wait to get to the next thing, you know.
And how about you, Christina?
I felt the same way. I think just because I have a kid freaking out in the background, let's talk to Robert and come back to me. And
Robert?
Well, I'm a little different because I was only in a few episodes of the second season, and that was only from an audition that I did. After I saw it being posted, it looked fascinating, and then right off the bat, I noticed that they were in their second season. That means they didn't lose everything in the first season, so they didn't go bankrupt or whatever. So I like the character of Smiley because that's kind of like how I like to play those kinds of people. Even though there was no lines, I said so. I liked the whole idea. I liked what I reviewed before I even auditioned for it. I go, yes, I want to be part of this. So yeah, so I was excited about just because of that. I hadn't seen it before.
And like this is basically like a new family, like inspired by the Manson family murders. So did you guys do any research into that, preparing for your roles in this LA Macabre as well? Or if you didn't, how deep did you go into it if you did, or if you just went into it blind, like reading a script and just going into that script?
Gosh, it was so long ago, but I did read Helter Skelter just to, because I know Dan said that was a big influence for him as well, at the beginning of season one, like years ago. And of course, it kind of definitely triggered a curiosity for cults and for, crime, sort of everything. And so I wouldn't necessarily call it research, but it sparked a curiosity that
Right.
I've continued to watch similar things and kind of keep that tone and thematic style kind of like around me.
And Robert, how about you when you got the part of Smiley? Was there anything you brought into it on your own, or did you kind of research among that kind of set of characters that have been in cults before?
Um, no, but you were talking about Charles Manson. I lived through that. I'm
Right.
like the age of all three of you together. And so I kind of lived through that part of it. So that was a very fascinating part of it. But my role being kind of an inside outsider, I really am not really part of the family. At least hasn't been displayed yet. So it was just kind of like one of the interesting phenomenons on the outside. So I brought into it what they had on the script, basically, and so I like that.
yeah, yeah, I will say that I had to do a little bit of digging. I knew, who Charles Manson was, and I knew the kind of general concept of the new family, but I really, had sort of just almost like folklore. And so I had to figure out like, okay, who are these people coming from? And it helped that my character was an outsider to that community. So it was okay that I think I had a similar experience to my character of trying to figure out, what did I just stumble into? What is this world? Who are these people? How deep does this go? But I've said it before, but when I first read Dan's scripts, they felt so believable to me that it had me looking around like all the baristas in, West Hollywood, just like, is everyone in a cult? Are they all being lured in? Oh my gosh. It just felt so possible.
And this question is for everybody. The way that this is filmed is so different for television, with it being almost like found footage and POV.
Mhm.
We see this a lot in movies and films, but not necessarily a TV show. So how was that like filming it, being part of the filming process for LA Macabre?
Well, not only is, found footage, like you're saying, weird for a TV show, but I think LA Macabre is extra rare as a TV show because it starts found footage in season 1, but then in season 2 it expands exponentially and kind of takes off and steers away from the found footage style and actually becomes more of a legitimate half hour, mystery thriller show with, we go out into, the different deserts and locations outside of Los Angeles rather than, just staying within the apartment. So the show, I think, also uniquely expands in that way. But it really just kind of like brought us so close together so quick because in doing the found footage style, Austin, our DP, was actually holding the camera the entire time. So even though it looked like characters were passing off the camera to each other, we were actually kind of choreographing this movement of with the DP, and we had a lot of one takes, and just we had to really work together as a team technically, not only creatively, to kind of make everything look as like found footage and casual sort of as it did.
And was any of that difficult for you? Because, like you said, some of it was like one takes and stuff like that. So, was any of the filming process difficult for you and the crew when you were doing season 1?
I wouldn't call it difficult. It was fun. Like I would say the one I remember the most, and it wasn't even a plan at the start, but in season 1, we creepy crawl this guy's house, and we set it all up. I sneak through the window and then open the door, and then we go into the man's bedroom, and it's a whole thing. And we blocked it out, and then we kind of realized that we could do it in one take. So we were like, let's just try. And for me, it was actually really exciting as an actor because it was pitch black. We were doing it in night, dark, whatever you call it, footage, like night vision. And so for me to actually feel like I was creepy crawling through this house in character, was amazing, rather than doing it in bits and pieces with lights and, all fake. It made it actually seem very real, which was really thrilling.
Yeah, and Christina and Robert, if you two watched season 1, that kind of had been innovative for you two to view that experience on it as a TV show while watching LA Macabre.
The part when the scenes that I was in, mostly outside, you're talking about how it seemed like it was like first person with a
Yeah.
small camera, and that's what it was. I mean, you didn't wait a half hour or an hour for them to set up cameras, shades, lights, and all kinds of crap. And it talking about a family, that it was a small group, and I think it gave us more liberty, more freedom just to shoot it. Boom, let's just get this done. Let's go through the scene instead of stopping and overthinking everything.
And
I was in season 1, but I play a more tangential character. And I will say when I first showed up, they were such a fluid team. The choreography Corsica's talking about really was in place. It was almost like a dance, how they all moved around each other and really felt at home in the space. It felt believable that they lived there and inhabited that space together. And so it was really easy for me to just kind of plop in and follow their lead and go, oh, okay, this is how this world works. This is how this production works. It was pretty fun.
Right. And Robert, with you coming in season 2, seeing everybody like continuously being a family, that must have been exhilarating to have that family experience on set with everybody pretty much knowing each other already. You were setting yourself into that foundation that everybody was working together, they knew each other. And how was that camaraderie on set as well when you came in?
What, speaking of coming in, Corsica, I don't know if you remember, but we shot it in somebody's apartment, the first scenes I did, and I walk in to the living room of that apartment or condo, and everybody's like you said, everybody looked like a family sitting on the floor, sitting in chairs, chit-chatting, munching. It was like walking into a family gathering. And I felt instantly comfortable right off the bat. And
Right, it's like all
so
that's
it
missing is
was
a few beers and a few pizzas, right? That's all that's basically missing.
Yeah, definitely. We
they
had
probably
those
were there.
too. Yeah.
But no, it was instant compatibility on my part, and I definitely felt comfortable. I was probably the oldest fart there, and so it was, but it no, it just everything flowed. It was great.
And Chorus, how was your character like with this? Because this must have been really intriguing for you to play a cult member in this TV show, and you're so fantastic with this character. How was it like bringing her to life on L.A. McCord?
Ooh, it's tough because you apply, yourself to a character, and so I definitely related in a lot of ways to her kind of confronting her past and working through it, even like in the present and dealing with all of these triggers that are kind of happening and just like the internal battle that she's dealing with and the consequences of those thoughts. It was an ongoing you know, obviously work, but I really connected with her a lot. It's definitely one of my favorite roles that I've ever played, but I think the experience has a lot to do with it as well. The character and the filming, the whole filming experience, yeah, was wonderful.
And how did you and the cast feel once this got picked up on Amazon? And how was that experience like with Amazon Prime Video distributing L.A. McCord?
Gosh, it's been so long that we've been working on it, and it really, for me, watching it, it's just incredible to get through it all and really see how, you just watch us get better at what we do and enjoy it more. And you see that in the show because we filmed chronologically, because of the way it expands. And I think that's really special to be able to see that in the product itself. And I think it's just really exciting to finally have it all be out there to show people, what we did. Yeah.
And I think, real quick, through the years, we had gotten together at film festivals and award shows. Remember Corsica? And we all stayed together. It wasn't like, oh, well, excuse me, I got to go play canasta tonight. I can't make it. And so I think that was a family encouragement there. So it is good to see that it's finally getting recognized
Yeah.
more and more. I mean, it was recognized, but to be recognized even more now, it's kind of neat.
And
It
now
is, and I think it's like in it. Well, sorry, AJ.
and now, especially now with it on Tubi, which is a free streaming service, a lot more people are going to have accessibility to be able to check out L.A. McCord as well, and that has to be exciting also.
Definitely. Yeah. The
Yeah.
more out there, the better. Yeah. Well, because
Go
also
ahead.
like
Say
the
something.
whole story is 3 seasons. So, the more people that like it, the more chances we'll be able to finish the story.
So go like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go watch.
And Christina, what were you going to say previously?
Oh, well, just, in terms of it being on Amazon Prime, I think that it being on a platform that's really pretty accessible that most people know about, it legitimizes it, number one, but it just makes it easy to find. So I've found that like a lot of my extended family members who saw, me put something up on Instagram, like, we're binging it this weekend. And I'm thinking like, I haven't seen these cousins in 3 years, but that's amazing. Thank you. Just because it feels familiar and it feels like, oh, it's a show on a platform I watch stuff on. So I can do that this weekend. Whereas I think sometimes some of the more industry specific or sort of indie filmmaker platforms, people just like your general audience doesn't feel as familiar with it. So
Right.
they're less willing to sort of, find it or figure out how to access it that way. But Amazon Prime, most people have some sense of, how it works and they can just click and watch. So that's been fun.
And Christina, you've been a part of some bigger franchises yourself, like Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman. So how does this feel being involved in LA McCarm, which is an incredibly binge-worthy TV show, and this is kind of like a show you're part of. So how does that like compare to other franchises you've been a part of?
Oh, I love both experiences so much. I really do. Like my background, I came from the indie world, and my husband and I have a little indie production company, so I always have a big heart for an indie set. And then like it's super fun being on a big Hollywood set, and just the mechanics are really different on an indie set. Even as an actor, I mean, you are just being an actor, but you are more apt to sort of participate in different elements of the production. It is everybody's sitting on the floor having dinner together. There's not really like private space to escape to. So there is an intimacy in that experience, as opposed to like, we'll come get you in your trailer when we need you, and you're
Right.
just there kind of doing your prep, and you're just there as an actor. But that being said, like Zach's sets are super communal, and he's a really like warm, fun, engaging director. And so even though there were a bajillion people around, and the vast majority of them, so much more significantly important to the production than me, he made sure that I was cared for and attended to as well. And he just was a really clear communicator. And so, yeah, I mean, it was a joy. Both were really a joy. And every director is different too, regardless of the size of a production. It's a very personal experience. So it's always fun to get to know a new director's style. It's kind of a fun challenge as an actor. It's almost like a new medium on every set. When you move from theater to film, or, film to TV, genres, like you're always kind of readjusting your techniques. And I think every director has their own taste and their ways that they like to rehearse and shoot. And so it's always a fun kind of adventure to figure out, okay, what's the rule book, what's the playbook in this environment, and how do I make sure I honor this person's work as best as I can.
And Robert, a similar question for you, because you were on Twin Peaks, one of the greatest TV shows of all time. So how does this compare with some of your previous works as well, being on LA McCarb?
Well, it basically the same. Believe it or not, I begged for this role. I don't know if Corsica knows that. I was so fascinated with the role that when I went in for the audition,
I was there
they
in the
had,
audition.
pardon?
I was there at your audition.
Oh, okay. Wasn't that, did you remember I did that?
Yeah, we already were planning to beg you. Like you were the best by far. Like you walked in and we were all just like, Smiley's here.
Oh, funny. Because I did the audition. They had a hose and a trash can lid and all kinds of funny things. And I went through it all. And then I got up to walk out. And I don't know if I left or not, but I got up to the door and I turned around and I said, yeah, I know you're not supposed to do this, but I really would like to be in this this production. And it's like, you don't do that. And I've never done that before. But I felt something special in this one. And I wanted, I don't, even if I was picking up trash after, they said it's a wrap, I wanted to be part of it.
You were fantastic. I didn't get to work with you, but the first time Dan showed me the rough cuts, I was like, who the F is this guy? He's so compelling. I can't take my eyes off, and I'm horrified. Like, you were just so great. Your presence is so strong in the piece, and I couldn't picture anyone else playing that role. So
Wow.
I really loved it. Yeah.
Well, just like talking about going through the script and being excited, it's a page turner. I was just ecstatic. Yeah, when you walked in the door, because it was just like in like your essence, and you're just, yeah, you were just like spot on who I pictured when I read the script. So it was like very exciting, not only to like have you come in and be excited for it, but then to like work with you on set was just like one of my favorite scenes to
Wow.
film in general.
It was a joy for me. And the on location sets, they were what, 400 miles from each other, the couple of them.
Yeah, sure, probably.
But that was okay. Just blast out there. I jumped on the back of my motorcycle and blasted to one up north and then the one down south and all that. It was just in the anticipation of it, getting together again and filming. It was great. I look forward to the next time we get together.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this question is for all of you. What were some of the fondest memories you guys had all filming together?
Ladies,
Great question. There's a scene. So I'm trying to figure out how to not give anything too much away, but there's a scene in season 2 where JP goes to handle some business, and it was a very fun day because it's a moment where a character is putting on a character as well, and I think that and there was an actor who was brought in who I hadn't worked with before, but I he's the little brother of someone that I know and have met. So it was sort of this like fun experience to meet him and get to work with him. He was fantastic. And it just was this fun day. We were just filming in a like souped up garage in the valley, but they made it feel like this crazy den. And I will say, I think that that's a big part of this show is like it, and you know, filmmaking in general, but there's that magic make believe element of it, and so you know, getting a chance to sort of escape into this like very different kind of world and you know be transformed as a character was a fun experience.
Yeah, gosh, I don't know. I would say like I actually like think of like the struggles, like, you know, and they all just kind of like turned around. Like we ended up having such good luck from them. The strongest ones for me were actually when we were on location towards the end for the sort of last few episodes of the second season, just because I was looking forward to them so much. But it was just we really felt very intimate together. You know, when I wasn't filming, I was staying at the cabin we were all staying in, like putting our crock pot dinner together, you know, to cook for us for like later that night, you know, and I remember like for one location, it was so hot, like sweltering hot. Like we were sitting in the shade, just kind of like, you know, spread out, just like trying not to sweat. But then, you know, like I had just kind of a scene where I had to sprint, you know, and just like exert a lot of energy in like a bunch of different ways. And it was just kind of like you just kind of rest and then go. But, you know, Dan and Austin and all of them, they were out there all day, and it was just like getting through it together, you know what I mean? And just, you know, very rewarding. Yeah.
The on location, because most of mine were on location, the one where I'm not going to give anything away, but where we had the beautiful mountains in the background,
Oh yeah.
that was beautiful a couple of days. And like you're saying, is after we were done shooting, we were still a family together because we all stayed out there. We didn't have our own fancy trailers to go to or anybody to assist us, and it was neat. And I think the best thing for me was I got to get back inside of an old, I think it was an Apache 10 pickup truck from my tow truck. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was a blast to go through the gears again and blast around in that thing. So that was fun.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us at infamoushorrors.com. It was really fun talking to you all.
Thank you. So
Thanks for
much.
having us. Thanks for spreading the word about LA Macabre.
Definitely. Anytime.
You all have happy holidays.
You
too.
as well. Yeah.
You too.
Good
Good
night.
to see your face, Corsica. Bye, Robert. Good night.
Okay, ladies, good to see you again, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds
Okay.
good.